You're listening to the first episode of the Mum Bomb podcast, dropping the truth bombs on motherhood. Today's episode is roughly 13 minutes long, and we are talking about the myth of having it all. Don't forget to follow the socials to keep up to date with episodes and content. Now, let's dive right into the first episode.
Hey, and welcome to the very first episode of the Mum Bomb podcast. I suppose where we talk about the chaos, the beauty, and the absolute madness of motherhood. It's raw, unfiltered, and real. I'm Kira, a mum of 5, a snack fetcher, laundry folder, emotional support human, and someone who's navigating this whole motherhood thing one melted crayon and one mental breakdown at a time. So, my oldest is 10 and my youngest is 1 month old. And between those two ends of the spectrum, let's just say there's not a single version of motherhood that I haven't lived through. If you're listening while hiding in the bathroom for 5 minutes apiece, folding washing that's been on the couch for 3 days, or cluster feeding a newborn while wondering if it's still Wednesday, which is something I do so much at the moment, you are so in the right place. I wanted to kick off this whole podcast journey with something that's been sitting heavy on my chest for years now. A phrase that sounds empowering, but it has slowly turned into this massive silent pressure on so many of us. And that is the myth of having it all. You know that idea that you can have it all, you can be a hands-on parent, run a business, maintain your friendships, stay fit, make organic snacks, have great sex, and drink enough water and do it all with a smile, all while wearing matching loungewear, obviously. Bonus points if it's in neutral tones too. But here's what I've come to realize. That idea, that promise, it's really just one big lie. And worse, it's a massive trap. It's wrapped up in Pinterest boards and filtered through Instagram. When I was pregnant with my first, I believed the crazy hype. I really did. I had this whole vision. Me with the pram, the latte, the neat ponytail, ticking things off my to-do list while baby slept peacefully in whatever carrier she was in for the day. I brought that baby bag that looked like a designer tote. I'm pretty sure it was a very expensive Colette bag. The white onesies, the wooden toys, and I swore I'd never let them get mixed up with anything plastic. I had them all organized in little boxes and labels, and it was just, unrealistic. I had maternity leave be this dreamy, soul-nourishing time. It was a break from work, filled with bonding and quiet naps and those Pinterest-worthy routines. In fact, I think I still have all of those routines and Pinterest boards on my Pinterest today. But the reality of it all, it was me crying at 2 a.m., wondering why my baby hates me, Googling, will she start to love me? Will she stop hating me? Will she ever sleep? It was me holding a baby who would only nap if I was at the point of exhaustion, but had to take it a little bit further. It was skipping meals, skipping showers, and wondering if the only one drowning in this dream life I thought I signed up for. The loneliness, oh my gosh. No one really talks about how lonely it can be to spend 12 hours a day with someone who can't talk and yet screams at you constantly. And here's the thing, baby number 5 just arrived, and guess what? I still don't have my shit together. In fact, it's probably worse. There's no expert badge you unlock at child number 3, no secret map or glowing wisdom stone. Just more washing, more school stuff, and just a whole heap of new flavors of chaos. Like, I didn't even know what a book week was until my oldest brought home a note and a sense of urgency like we were prepping for the Met Gala. There are days I look around and think, what is this life? It's beautiful, it's overwhelming, and it's loud. And it's nothing like the curated highlight reels we scroll through online. It's it's anything but. So let's talk practicality. Because we're constantly told we should be able to balance it all, right? I want you to imagine your time and energy like a phone battery. Every part of your life pulls power from it. Your kids, your job, your partner, your mental health, your friendships, your basic bodily needs like, food and sleep. But that battery isn't infinite, and some days it's on 10% before you've even had your coffee. When we try to give 100% to everything every day, we hit burnout fast. And that's when the guilt creeps in. Because no matter what you do, something always feels like it's falling through the cracks. So let's get specific. You're back at work, you're still doing night feeds, you've got the school newsletter to read. Remember that book week? You got that costume to organise. 2 birthday parties this weekend and a toddler who's currently obsessed with peeling anything off anything and crying because you peeled their banana. Then someone says, don't forget to take time for yourself. And you smile like, oh yes, Of course. While inside, you're wondering when the last time you shaved your legs or ate a full meal sitting down. Side note, I had my baby 5 weeks ago and I probably shaved my legs a week before she was here. I still haven't shaved my legs. Like, I don't have time. But back to that. While we're juggling all of this, can we talk about relationships? Maintaining a connection with your partner while you're exhausted, overstimulated, and running on caffeine and resentment. Wow. Sometimes the only conversation we have is passing the baby and shouting, "Did you pack a lunchbox from across the house for the kids the next day?" That emotional intimacy, the connection, it takes a hit. And even though you love each other, it starts to feel like you're running two very different marathons and handing the baton off every few hours. Sometimes you forget you're not just co-parents. You're people. People who used to go out and laugh and talk about things other than grocery lists. I feel like for me and my husband now, all we do is just talk about the kids. There's no other conversations in there that isn't about the kids. We could be talking about going away. It's got to bring up the kids. Date night, it's about the kids. We go on the date night and we have nothing to talk about because our life revolves around the kids. And you lose your sense of who you were in that relationship. And it takes a hit. But other things that do take a hit is also friendships. And this is something that really hurts because you forget to reply to texts, you miss birthdays, you cancel dinner plans over and over and over again. You're not being a bad friend, you're just trying to survive the day. But the guilt, it is still there. That voice in your head whispering, you're not showing up for the people you love. And even when you have nothing left in your tank to give. And sometimes friendships fall away in the season. And it's not because you don't care, but because the load is too heavy. And no one told us that it was okay to drop some balls sometimes. And some of those balls bounce, some don't. And learning which ones to let fall, that in itself is a part of growth in motherhood and in life in general. I had to watch some friendships fall away when I had my toddler, and there were friendships that I didn't think would fall away, and they did. And it was hard, and I still struggle with that. But again, it is a part of the growth. And overall, here's what I've learned. The real friendships, though, they do survive those quiet seasons. And those real partners, they understand that mess isn't a lack of love. It's just life being really, really, really loud. So let me tell you a story. A few months ago, I had the perfect day planned. I know, right? Perfect days. The toddler was going down for a nap, the older kids were at school, and I was going to catch up on everything. Emails, laundry, try to clean the car, because if you know me, you know my car is constantly disgusting. But by lunchtime, when I said the baby, I mean the toddler. I got to get used to not calling him the baby anymore. He had literally pooped up his back twice, lactose intolerant things. The toddler had ripped everything out of the cabinets and I'd packed them up like 5 times already. And I literally only managed to eat whatever cold leftovers from breakfast there were. And I remember sitting there crying over a high school reunion TikTok because I realized that I'm aging because it had been over 10 years since I had been at school. I was very pregnant at that point as well. Not at school, just when I watched that video. And then by 3 o'clock, we had done school pickup and we were home and I was in the kitchen eating whatever sugary treat I could find, pretending not to hear my name being screamed for the 40th time that day. Well, not even that day, that afternoon. And you know what? That was enough. Because some days having it all means just keeping everyone alive and not losing my shit. And I think that's pretty valid. We need to stop glorifying the hustle and start normalizing the real. The mess, the overwhelm, the joy, and the mum rage, because the mum rage is like another really real thing. The moments where your toddler's screaming because you dared to cut their toast in triangles instead of the squares. This is real life and it deserves more honesty. And honestly, when we open up and share these stories, something magical happens. We realize that we're not broken, we're just a bunch of mums in the thick of it, doing our best with what we've got. So this is what I want you to know. You are allowed to drop the ball. You don't have to do it all. You don't need to look perfect while you're doing any of it. And you're not failing. You're human. And asking for help definitely isn't weak. It is strong and it's survival. If your house is a mess, but your kids are fed and loved, you're doing enough. If you didn't reply to a text, but you're trying your best, you are doing enough. And if all you did today was get everyone out the door, you're doing enough. You are enough right here, right now, in the chaos and in the beauty and the blur. This podcast, it's not about giving you more to do. It's about giving you a place to feel seen, to feel less alone, to laugh and to cry. To nod along and say, oh my God, same. Because some weeks I'll share stories, some I'll bring in guests, mums, experts, mates who get it. We'll talk about mum guilt, identity loss, rage, joy, routines, intimacy, mental health, and all the messy in between bits. So we can finally drop the pressure to have it all, and instead we can just hold on what we can. So if this spoke to you, hit the follow, subscribe, whatever your app says. And if you know a mum who needs to hear this, share it with her. Let's build this village, one honest, messy, hilarious episode at a time. Thanks for spending a bit of your chaotic day with me. I'm off to reheat my coffee for the third time today, maybe, and maybe sit down for 5 minutes before someone screams out mum. You've got this, mama. I'll catch you next week on the Mum Bomb podcast.
You've just been listening to the Mum Bomb podcast with Kira. Don't forget to follow the Mum Bomb podcast socials and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest episodes.